The rain-slicked streets of Brooklyn gleamed under the sodium lamps like veins pulsing with secrets, and I slammed the door of the coffee shop so hard the bell jangled like a warning shot. My heart hammered not from the sprint through the downpour, but from the ghost of his voice echoing in my ear. "You're nothing but a fraud, Alex." Words spat like venom from lips I'd once traced in fevered dreams. In that instant, as thunder cracked overhead, I realized pretending to hate him had cracked me open wider than any truth ever could. I wiped the water from my face, the kind that mixed rain with unshed tears, and slumped into the nearest booth, the vinyl seat cold against my soaked jeans. The shop was a haven for night owls like me. Dim corners stacked with dog-eared paperbacks, the hiss of the espresso machine a steady heartbeat against the storm outside. But tonight, it felt like a cage. My phone buzzed in my pocket. A text from Mia. "Where are you? Party's dead without your dramatic ass." I ignored it. Mia was the glue in our fractured circle, the bisexual firecracker who dragged us all into her orbit with equal parts charm and chaos. She'd been the one to introduce me to Jordan 3 years ago at that infamous Pride after-party in the village, where rainbow flags whipped in the wind and bodies pressed too close under the strobe lights. "He's trouble," she'd whispered, her eyes sparkling with mischief. But the good kind. Trouble. That was Jordan in a nutshell, a storm wrapped in a smile, with hazel eyes that could disarm you faster than a loaded question. We'd clicked instantly, or so I thought. Late nights debating queer theory in dive bars, his hand brushing mine over shared fries, the way he'd lean in when I ranted about my dead-end job at the nonprofit, fighting for trans rights funding that never materialized. It felt like the start of something real, something that could outlast the hangovers and heartaches of our 20s. Until it didn't. The bell above the door tinkled again, softer this time, and I looked up, my stomach twisting into knots. Not him. Please, not him. It was just an elderly couple shaking off umbrellas, their laughter a gentle counterpoint to my inner turmoil. I exhaled, ordering a black coffee from the barista, a lanky non-binary kid with blue hair and a name tag reading Riley. They slid the mug over with a sympathetic nod. "Rough night. You have no idea." I forced a grin, but it faltered. Riley lingered, wiping the counter with deliberate slowness. "Heard that one before. Spill if you want. We're all misfits here." Misfits. Yeah, that tracked. In a city that celebrated diversity on billboards but whispered slurs in alleys, we wore our identities like armor. Mine a quiet gay pragmatist who'd clawed his way out of a conservative Midwest family. Jordan the golden boy activist whose Instagram feed brimmed with calls to action and shirtless protest selfies. We'd built a friendship on shared scars, his coming out at 16 to a family that shipped him off to conversion therapy camps, mine at 22 when my dad walked out mid-confession, muttering about choices. But lately, those scars had festered into something uglier. It started 6 months ago, at the annual GLAAD Gala. Mia had scored us invites, her latest gig as a junior producer on some indie queer rom-com affording her the connections. Jordan showed up in a tailored suit that hugged his frame like a promise, his laugh cutting through the chatter as he networked with donors twice his age. I hung back, nursing a gin and tonic, feeling like the imposter he later accused me of being. "Alex, loosen up," he'd said, slinging an arm around my shoulders. His touch lingered too long, his breath warm against my neck. For a heartbeat, the room faded. The clink of glasses, the drag queen MC's mic feedback, and it was just us, suspended in that electric almost. Then Elena crashed the moment. Elena Vargas, Jordan's ex, the one who'd ghosted him after a whirlwind affair that left him shattered. She was all sharp cheekbones and sharper wit, a lesbian powerhouse running her own gallery in Soho, with a reputation for collecting hearts like modern art. She'd swept in, air-kissing cheeks, her red dress a slash of color against the black tie sea. "Jordan, darling," she'd purred, still saving the world one tweet at a time. He stiffened beside me, but played it cool, introducing me as my best mate, Alex, the brains behind the operation. Brains. Mate. The words stung, reducing what we danced around to platonic footnotes. Elena's eyes flicked over me, dismissive, like I was a prop in their unresolved drama. Later, in the coat room, I'd overheard her. "He's cute, in a puppy dog way. But you deserve fireworks, not flickers." Jordan's response was lost in the shuffle of departing guests, but the seed was planted. Doubt. The kind that whispers you're not enough. From there, it snowballed. Jordan pulled away, canceled plans with flimsy excuses, his texts turning curt, laced with subtext I couldn't decode. When I confronted him at our usual haunt, a greasy spoon in Williamsburg, he exploded. You think this is easy? Parading around like we're some power couple when half the community thinks we're just playing at it. His face twisted, not in anger, but pain. Elena's right. We're frauds, Alex. Pretending to be enemies might be the only way to keep it simple. Enemies. The word landed like a slap, but I grabbed it, desperate for any role that kept him close. So we did. Public spats at group hangs, where I'd roll my eyes at his performative allyship, and he'd snipe back about my cynical shell. Mia called it our will the won't they phase, oblivious to the knife it twisted. Our friends, Lila the trans barista with a laugh like summer thunder, and Theo, the pan-ace graphic designer who mediated every feud, ate it up, placing bets over bottomless mimosas. But behind closed doors, the pretense frayed. Late-night calls where silence spoke volumes, his voice cracking on, "I miss this," only for him to hang up and post another cryptic story about toxic cycles. Tonight's blow-up had been epic. A fundraiser for the center where I volunteered, packed with queer youth seeking the visibility we all craved. Jordan arrived late, Elena on his arm. Not as a date, he swore later, but a professional favor for her latest exhibit on queer erasure. Seeing them together, her hand on his elbow, ignited something feral in me. I cornered him by the dessert table, voice low and lethal. What's this? Rebound or regression? He fired back. Jealousy doesn't suit you, Alex. Go save someone who needs it. The room spun. I stormed out into the rain, the city blurring into a watercolor of regret. Now, here I sat, coffee cooling untouched, replaying the venom in his eyes. Was it all a lie? The stolen glances, the inside jokes about our straight-passing facades? Or was the real fraud the hope I'd harbored? That under the barbs, he felt it too? Riley slid a slice of pie my way, on the house. Comfort food. And hey, whatever storm's brewing, it passes. I nodded, but as I forked into the crust, the door flew open again. This time it was him. Jordan, drenched and disheveled, scanning the room until his gaze locked on mine. The air thickened, charged like the thunder outside. He didn't speak, just crossed the floor in 3 strides and dropped into the booth opposite me, his knee brushing mine under the table. We need to talk, he said, voice rough as gravel. But in his eyes, flickering under the fluorescent hum, I saw the crack, the pretense splintering, revealing the man who'd been waiting, just like me. His fingers drummed the tabletop, a nervous tick I'd memorized years ago, back when we'd binge-watch old queer films on his fire escape, passing a joint and dissecting every trope. Alex, he stopped, glancing at Riley, who mercifully vanished into the back. The shop emptied slowly, the couple leaving with a wave, leaving us in a bubble of rain-lashed quiet. That wasn't what it looked like back there. I leaned forward, elbows on the scarred wood, the pie forgotten. Then what was it, Jordan? Because from where I stood, it looked like you dragging your ex around to rub it in my face. The words tasted bitter, laced with the insecurity I'd buried under sarcasm for months. He winced, running a hand through his wet curls, droplets scattering like accusations. Elena's exhibit, it's about us, the community. She needed an escort, and I thought it'd be fine. Professional. He met my eyes, unflinching now. But seeing you there, all fierce and unapologetic, handing out flyers like you owned the room, it gutted me. Gutted him. The irony twisted like a knife. You gut me every day with this enemy bullshit. I shot back, voice cracking despite my resolve. 1 minute we're thick as thieves. The next you're icing me out like I'm the villain in your redemption arc. What's the play here? Protect your heart by breaking mine first. He exhaled sharply, the sound ragged. It's not a play. It's survival. His hand inched across the table, stopping just short of mine, a ghost touch that burned. After Elena, I swore off complications. You and me? We're a minefield. Friends who flirt with fire, but what if it explodes? The community watches us like hawks. Are they dating? Faking it for clout? And my family's still whispering prayers for my soul, pretending to clash. It keeps the lines clear. Simple. Simple. The word hung between us, a cruel joke. I pulled back, the booth suddenly too small. Simple's a lie, Jordan. It's been eating us alive. Memories flooded unbidden. That night in the Hamptons, Mia's birthday bonfire on the beach. Waves crashing as he pulled me into a dance under the stars. No one watching, just his forehead against mine, whispering, what if we didn't have to hide? We'd laughed it off as drunk talk, but the seed took root. Outside, lightning forked the sky, illuminating his face in stark relief, jaw set, but eyes soft, pleading. I know. God, I know. Tonight, when you walked out, I chased you because I couldn't breathe. Not without fixing this. He paused, swallowing hard. Elena's not the issue. She straight up asked me to set her up with Lila. By the way, total plot twist. But you? You're the one I can't shake. My pulse thundered, drowning the rain. Then stopped shaking me off. The challenge hung there, raw and reckless. He held my gaze, the seconds stretching taut as a wire. Then, slowly, he bridged the gap, his fingers lacing with mine. Warm, tentative, real. The contact jolted through me, unraveling the knots I'd tied myself in. We sat like that as the storm raged, words tumbling out in fits and starts. He confessed the pressure from his online following, the trolls who branded any vulnerability as weak queer bait. I admitted my fear of rejection, rooted in Dad's abandonment. If blood can't love you whole, who can? By the time Riley flipped the closed sign, the air between us had shifted, lighter, laced with possibility. But Brooklyn doesn't do tidy endings. As we stepped into the drizzle, arms brushing, my phone lit up again. Mia, voice note this time. Alex? Dude, Jordan just bolted after you. Spill. Enemies to lovers arc incoming. I chuckled, pocketing it, but Jordan's expression darkened. She's got a big mouth. She's got our backs. I nudged him, the old rhythm sparking. We walked toward the subway, shoulders bumping, the city a canvas of wet neon dreams. At the station entrance, he stopped, turning to face me fully. Truce. His smile was crooked, hopeful. More than that. The words slipped out before I could censor them. His eyes widened, then softened, and in that charged silence, he leaned in. Not a kiss, not yet, but a forehead press, breath mingling. Tomorrow, he murmured. My place. No pretenses. I nodded, throat tight. As the train rumbled below, I watched him descend the stairs, a silhouette against the fluorescent glow. Hope flickered, fragile as a match in the wind. But for the first time in months, it felt like enough. The next morning dawned crisp, the kind of autumn bite that sharpened the edges of everything in New York. I woke in my cramped Bushwick apartment, sunlight slanting through blinds like accusatory fingers, highlighting the chaos. Protest posters curling at the corners, a half-read copy of Audre Lorde's essays dog-eared on the nightstand. My head throbbed from lack of sleep, replaying the coffee shop confessional on loop. Jordan's hand in mine, solid, not a dream. But doubt crept in with the coffee brew, black and bitter. What if last night was just storm-fueled sentiment? What if tomorrow meant back to square one? I showered quick, the hot water doing little to rinse away the residue of fear. Dressed in my go-to, faded Levi's, a threadbare queer-as-folk tee that Mia swore made me look broodingly fuckable, I grabbed my keys and headed out. The streets buzzed with weekend energy, dog walkers in Park Slope, vendors hawking apple cider at the farmer's market. I detoured through the market, snagging a warm pastry to steady my nerves. Theo texted as I munched. Heard you two had a showdown. Therapy session or foreplay? Spill to your favorite pan pal. I fired back a middle finger emoji, grinning despite myself. Theo was the steady one in our crew, his non-monogamous heart a beacon of love's not a zero-sum game. He'd been the first to clock my crush on Jordan, back when it was just lingering hugs at movie nights. Own it, he'd advised over whiskey sours. Or it'll own you. By noon, I stood outside Jordan's brownstone in Bed-Stuy, the stoop lined with potted herbs that screamed domestic gay dreams. My thumb hovered over the buzzer, pulse erratic. This was it. No barbs, no audience. Just us. The door swung open before I pressed. Jordan in sweatpants and a Henley that clung just right. Hair tousled like he'd run fingers through it 100 times waiting. Hey, he said, soft as sunlight. Hey yourself. I stepped inside, the scent of fresh basil and garlic hitting me, pasta sauce simmering on the stove. Domestic. Intimate. My chest tightened. His place was a queer utopia. Walls papered in vintage Tom of Finland prints juxtaposed with protest photos from Stonewall retrospectives, bookshelves groaning under Baldwin and hooks. A pride flag draped the couch like a throw blanket. He poured us wine, cheap red from the corner bodega, and we settled on the living room rug, plates balanced on knees. Conversation flowed easy at first. Work gripes, his latest grant proposal rejected again, Mia's latest dating disaster, swiping right on her boss. Laughter bridged the gaps, but undercurrents pulled stronger. About last night, he started, setting his fork down. I meant it. All of it. I nodded, wine warming my veins. Me too. But why now? After months of this Cold War. He leaned back against the couch, legs stretched out, one ankle brushing my thigh. A casual invasion that set sparks flying. Truth? I was scared. Of messing up the one real thing in my life. You see me, Alex. Not the activist poster boy, not the ex's rebound. Just me. The vulnerability hit like a wave. I set my plate aside, shifting closer. I've always seen you. Even when you were pushing me away. Our knees touched now, deliberate. His hand found my arm, thumb tracing a lazy circle. The air hummed, thick with unspoken permissions. Then the doorbell shattered it. Insistent, triple ring. Jordan groaned, hauling himself up. Ignore it. But it persisted, morphing into pounding. He peered through the peephole, face paling. Shit. It's Elena. My stomach dropped. What the hell? He cracked the door, voice clipped. Not a good time, El. But she pushed past, a whirlwind in oversized sunnies and a silk blouse, clutching a bottle of Prosecco like a peace offering or weapon. Heard you two patched up. Thought I'd crash the reconciliation brunch. Her eyes landed on me, appraising, then softening into something like apology. Alex, right? Look, no claws today. I owe you one. Jordan shot her a glare that could curdle milk. Elena, seriously, but she was already popping the cork, fizz spraying like confetti. Relax, boys. I'm here to grovel. Last night's arm candy. Total misfire. And Lila? She's smitten, but that's her drama. She poured flutes, handing one to each of us, her bravado cracking just a hair. Truth is, I envied what you two have. The slow burn. My life's all flash, no fire. We stared, the intrusion turning absurdly meta. I accepted the glass, clinking it against hers. To misfires? She laughed, genuine, and for a moment, the tension dissolved into chatter. Her latest gallery scandal. Our shared eye rolls at straight allies who love the gays but hate the gays. Jordan relaxed by degrees, his foot nudging mine under the coffee table, a secret anchor. But Elena's visit lingered like aftertaste. As she left an hour later, hugging us both with theatrical flair, "Don't fuck this up, or I'll haunt you." Jordan closed the door, leaning against it with a sigh. She's a hurricane. I stood, closing the distance. But we're the eye. Our hands met, palms pressing, fingers intertwining. His breath hitched. Alex. I didn't let him finish. Tilting up, I claimed his mouth, not desperate, but sure. Soft at first, exploratory, tasting wine and want. He responded with a sigh, hands cupping my face, pulling me deeper. It wasn't years of pent-up fury unleashed. It was recognition, the puzzle pieces slotting home. When we broke apart, foreheads touching, he whispered, "No more pretending." The afternoon blurred into evening. Tangled on the couch watching old episodes of Pose, his head on my shoulder, commentary laced with kisses. But as night fell, shadows crept back. My phone buzzed relentlessly. Mia, Theo, even Lila. Group chats exploding. Elena spilled. Jordan snatched it, silencing the notifications. Let them wait. This is ours. Ours. The words settled warm in my chest. We cooked the rest of dinner together, elbows bumping in the tiny kitchen, his laughter bubbling as I botched the garlic bread. Over candlelight, cheesy, but unapologetic, we talked futures, a joint podcast on queer mental health, trips to Fire Island Sands drama. Hope bloomed, tentative petals in winter soil. Yet Brooklyn whispered warnings. As we walked him to the door later, arms linked, a passerby catcalled, "Ferry boys, get a room." The slur slicing casual. Jordan tensed, but I squeezed his hand. Ignore. We're unbreakable. He smiled, but doubt flickered. Inside, alone again, I scrolled old photos. Us at last year's Dyke March. Arms around Mia, grins wide. What storms waited? Monday hit like a freight train. Back at the nonprofit, spreadsheets blurred under fluorescent hell, my boss. A well-meaning cis-gay man with a savior complex. Dumping extra hours on the passionate one. I texted Jordan during lunch, drowning in grants. Save me. His reply, heart emoji, then dinner? My treat. 8 p.m., that Italian spot in the slope. Anticipation carried me through the afternoon, until Mia burst into my cubicle, all whirlwind energy and hoop earrings. Okay, spill. Elena's version is adorable rom-com, but I need your director's cut. She perched on my desk, legs swinging. I hesitated. Our thing was fresh, private, but her eyes pleaded, the friend who'd held me through every breakdown. It's real, I said finally. No more games. She squealed, hugging me fierce. About damn time. Theo owes me $20, but her joy dimmed. Just be careful. Jordan's got baggage, and the community's got opinions. Remember that podcaster who dragged him last month for tokenism? I did. The backlash had been brutal, tweets accusing him of performative allyship, ignoring his actual work with at-risk youth. He'd withdrawn then, the enemy pretense ramping up as shield. We'll handle it, I said, more conviction than I felt. Evening arrived velvet soft, the Italian bistro aglow with strung lights, the scent of marinara a hug. Jordan waited at our table, sleeves rolled up, that easy smile disarming as ever. We ordered Chianti and calamari, knees knocking under the checkered cloth. Conversation danced light, weekend recaps, a hilarious story about Lila's latest tattoo mishap. But midway through pasta, his fork paused. I told my mom about us. My heart stuttered. His family was a minefield, Dad long gone. Mom clinging to church hymns that preached, love the sinner, hate the sin. What did she say? He shrugged, but his eyes shadowed. Prayers. Always prayers. But she said, she's trying. Progress, fragile as glass. I reached for his hand across the table, public and proud. That's huge. The waiter, a twink with a wink, refilled our glasses, oblivious to the wait. As dessert arrived, tiramisu we shared, spoons clinking like toasts, the mood lifted. We lingered, plotting a group hike upstate, queer nature therapy, as Jordan dubbed it. Walking out into the cool night, his arm around my waist, the city felt benevolent, stars winking approval. But fate's a fickle bitch. Halfway home, my phone rang, unknown number. I answered, voice casual. Silence. Then a voice, slurred and sinister. Tell your boyfriend to watch his back. Freaks like you don't deserve the spotlight. Click. Jordan's face drained as I recounted it, his jaw clenching. Trolls. Probably from that old thread. We brushed it off, or tried, crashing at my place for safety in numbers. Curled under blankets, his heartbeat steady against my back, I whispered, we're stronger together. He kissed my shoulder. Damn right. Tuesday brought escalation. At work, an email from an anonymous tip line. Screenshots of Jordan's old posts, twisted to paint him as opportunistic. Your partner's a fraud. Dig deeper. My hands shook as I forwarded it to our IT guy, but doubt seeded. Was Elena stirring? Or worse, someone closer? I confronted Jordan that evening over takeout in his kitchen, the threat hanging unspoken. This harassment, it's targeting you because of me? He pulled me into a hug, firm. No, it's the world. But we fight back. We drafted a joint statement for his platform. Vulnerability is armor, calling out the hate without naming names. Posting it felt defiant, a middle finger to shadows. The response flooded in. Support from Mia, slay kings. Confusion from Lila. Wait, you two are official? Spill. And a DM from Elena. If this is my fault, say it. I swear, I'm team you. I showed Jordan, his laugh rueful. Hurricane's got a conscience. Midweek, the group convened at our favorite karaoke dive, a basement joint in the East Village where the mic feedback was as legendary as the bad decisions. Theo manned the door, Lila belted show tunes, Mia orchestrated duets. Jordan and I sang, defying gravity, off-key and entangled, the room erupting. For 2 hours, it was pure, laughter drowning doubts, friendship a fortress. But as last call loomed, a stranger sidled up, beer breath hot. Heard you're the new power couple. Cute. Until it crashes. Jordan stiffened, but I stepped forward, voice steel. Thanks for the prophecy. Buy us a round or buzz off. The guy slunk away, but the chill lingered. Outside, under street lamps, Mia pulled me aside. That creep. Saw him eyeing you earlier. Be vigilant. Her worry mirrored my own, but Jordan's hand in mine grounded me. We've got this, he said, kissing my temple. Homeward, the subway rattled our bones, but his whispers, I love you, sealed the cracks. Love, said aloud, it terrified and thrilled. Friday, we escaped to Central Park, leaves crunching underfoot, hot cider steaming. We talked depths, his therapy breakthroughs, my buried grief over Dad's silence. He called last week, I admitted. Left a voicemail. Proud of you, son. Too little, too late. Jordan squeezed my hand. It's a start. Like Mom's prayers. We picnicked on a blanket, feeding each other grapes, the city a distant hum. As dusk fell, he pulled a small box from his jacket. Not a ring, but matching keychains, tiny rainbow fists. For your place. Mine. Us. Tears pricked. Perfect. The kiss that followed was sunset sweet, world fading. But Saturday shattered idle. Jordan's phone blew up, news alert. His grant denial leaked, tied to personal distractions. Headlines sneered. Activist romance rocks funding boat. My blood boiled. At his, we scrolled, fury mounting. This is sabotage, I growled. He paced wild. Who? Elena? No, she's clean. Then his eyes widened. Wait, that podcaster, from the thread. He threatened offline. We dug, Mia joining via video, her producer skills unearthly. By midnight, we traced it, a disgruntled ex-colleague, jealous of Jordan's rise, fanning flames. Armed with proof, we prepped exposure, careful legal. Sunday brunch with the crew turned strategy session. Theo sketched graphics, Lila brewed potions, aka coffee, Mia live-tweeted support. Elena showed, contrite with bagels. Use my platform. Gallery tie-in event. Gratitude swelled. As we plotted, Jordan's hand found mine under the table, steady. The storm brewed, but we were the thunder now. The week blurred into battle mode. Jordan's post went viral, raw, calling out the leak, the harasser. Backlash hit. Hate mail, dox threats, but allies amplified. Glad retweets, queer influencers rallying. Mia's network landed us a podcast slot, our voices united, weaving pain into power. Mid-fray, doubt resurfaced. Late night, Jordan confessed. What if they win? What if I drag you down? I cupped his face. We rise or fall together. Choose rise. He chose. The harasser's apology came Tuesday, public, cringing. Funding whispers turned favorable, a new grant loomed. Climax crested Thursday. The gallery event, Elena's space transformed into shadows to solidarity. Art from queer survivors. Us as co-MCS. Nerves jangled backstage. Jordan's tie askew. Break a leg. I fixed it, lingering. Break hearts. Spotlight hit, crowd hushed. We spoke. Him on visibility's cost, me on love's armor. Applause thundered, tears flowed. Backstage, Elena hugged us. You too? Fireworks. After party at the dive, toasts endless. Mia raised glass. To enemies who became everything. Laughter, dances, Theo's bad puns. As dawn crept, Jordan and I slipped away, rooftop under stars. We made it, he breathed. I kissed him, deep, years worth. And we're just starting. Epilogue whispered in quiet months. Grants won, family calls warming, our circle tighter. Love, once pretended, now profound. Messy, real, unbreakable.